Well, hello again and welcome to a new video. In this video, I am simply going to go through another example about how do we subnet a given IP address into a number of giving networks. But this time we're going to use a different prefix comparing to example 1 that I already posted. So in this case, we have a prefix and our prefix is 23. And to save some time, I decided to put the subnet mask for the 23 prefix as 255.255.2540. And this is the network IP address that I'm starting with. And this is the binary representation for both of them. And this is the line that separates the network portion from the host portion. Now, since he wants 4 networks, we're going to have to ask ourselves the same question. How many bits do we have to borrow from the host portion to the network portion to be able to generate 4 networks? And we said the equation is 2 to the number of those bits should be greater or equal 4. Now, if we borrow a single bit here, we are going to have 2 to the power of 1, and that's 2, so that's not enough. If we borrow 2 bits, it's going to be 2 to the power of 2, and 2 to the power of 2 is simply 4, so that will be it. So the number of bits that we have to borrow is actually 2. So let me just clear this section here. And those are the 2 bits that we are going to simply borrow. So based on this giving information, we are going to have a new line. And let me just draw this new line. That new line is simply going to be this one here. Now this is again a case where I get a lot of complaining about, oh, how do I deal with a case where there's a decimal point in the middle? Well, that should not be a big deal. So let's just go ahead and answer the question based on what we learned from the previous video. And as I said, there will be 2 ways to answer this question, and I'm going to show you both of them. Number 1, and before we do anything, let me just answer one question here. Since I'm borrowing 2 bits, so whatever the prefix here that you have, the new prefix is simply going to be 20. It's going to be 25. Why 25? Because it was originally 23, and now we're borrowing 2, so that'll make it 25. So here we go. This is the new prefix. Now, how many hosts I can have in the network? Well, the answer is 2 to the power of the number of the host portion, which is in this case 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 2 to the power of 7 minus 2. That should be the number of hosts, and this case is going to be 126, I believe. Let me just go to do the math, calculator, and scientific, 2 to the power of 7 minus 2, so that's 126. So let's go ahead and put that here, 200, wait a minute, 126, okay? So that's another piece of information that we can extract. Now remember here, next in my second method of calculating or completing the subnet task, I'm going to add 2 to this 126. So let's go back to those 2 bits. Since we are borrowing 2 bits, so for the subnet mask, simply, oh wait a minute, I simply switched. This is supposed to be down, this is supposed to be up. So let me just fix this really, really fast. Control X, Control V, let's take it and put it here. Let me cut this part. I am sorry for this typo. So this is supposed to be here because this is the IP address, and this one here is the subnet masks. So I'm just going to put it here. And of course, this will change one extra fact, that this is not the subnet mask. And let's just do it here. Click on the red, and we'll just take it from here all the way to here. Okay. Okay, so let's go back here. Since we're borrowing 2 bits, so that simply means those 2 are not zeros anymore, and they're going to be 1. Now let's look at those 2 bits that I have here. I got 0.0. Now, those 2 bits, there are 4 possibilities. Could be 00, 01, 10, and 1.1. All I'm going to do here is I'm going to take each one of them and put it here and then convert it back to decimal. And let's do that really, really fast. I am going to come here and type the first IP address. It's going to be 192.168.100 and then 0 and then 25. 24. Oh, wait a minute. 25, yes. I said 25 and I typed 24. I am sorry again. So let's go ahead and do that and fix it really, really quick. Okay, so here we go. This is my correct prefix. So I use the first one. For the second one is going to be 0, 1. So we're going to take those 0 and 1, 0 here and 1 here. And that IP address will be as following. Let's just go ahead and put it here. 192.168.100. And again, if you convert this back to binary, decimal, sorry, it's going to be 128, prefix 25. Let's move on to the third one. Now for the third one, I am going to use the third IP address, the third combination, which is 10. So I'm going to have to fix that here. So this is going to be 0 and this is going to be 1. So let's just type that. This is 1 and this is 0. And that will, again, let's just put it that way. If I come here and put this one, it's going to be 192.168.101. If you convert this number to decimal, it's going to be 101. And this is going to be 0, and this is going to be 25. Now the last one is when you get 1, 1. So let's go ahead and put that here. And that is, let's just put it here directly. 192.168.101.128, prefix of 25. And that's it. I am done answering the question using the binary method. Let's just call it the binary method. Okay, as I said before, I'm going to show you how do we answer the question without the need to go through all of that. And the answer for that question is basically by creating the mask that I was talking about. So 0.0.0.0. Now the number that we're going to be adding to that mask is simply going to be 128. Now let's look at the case that we have here, 0.0. Now we start with this IP address, which is 192.168.100.0. Now remember here, for each one of those, the prefix is 25. Don't have to worry about that. So the first IP address is simply by adding the mask to this value, and that's what we're going to get. So I am going to get exactly the same thing because adding 0 to anything will not change anything. 192.168.100.025. Now once we're done with that, we are going to go back and add 128 to the number that we have here. So we'll just go ahead and do that. 128. Now if you add 128 to this IP address, you are simply going to get the second one. And the second one is going to be 192.168.100 and 128, of course, with a 25 over prefix. Now for the third one, what are we going to do? We're going to add 128 to 128, and that will produce 256. So the result of this, whatever the 128 that I have plus the new 128, will give me 256. And we said whenever you get to 256, you simply set this one to 0, and you add 1 to the next octet. And the next octet was 0 already, so we're just going to put 1. And in this case, we are going to have, now remember here, we're going to add this number here to this number here. So what I'm going to get 192.168.101 and 0, and then 25. Now after that, we are simply going to add another 128 to the mask. And by adding 128 to the mask, we are simply going to end up having 128 here. And now if you add that number to this IP address that we started with, we are going to get, let's just put it here, 192.168.100, and then 100, oh wait a minute, 101. Oh, wait a minute, I made a mistake. I'll just fix it in a sec. And then 128/25. This is 1001. So let me just fix it. I'm going to take the whole thing away. And let's just retype it. So 192, 168, 101, and then 0, and then 25. And as you can see here, the results match with what we have here. Now to double check, I'm going to come here and put the IP address 192.168, 100.0. Prefix 23, subnet by network requirements. We said we know 4 networks. Click here, and here they are. And by the way, one of the features that I have in this application, if you highlight any IP address, for example, this one, it will show a subnet the selected IP, and it's going to give you all the information. So this is the IP address, this is the network, this is the subnet mask, this is the number of hosts, and this is the broadcast, and this is the first available IP address, I believe, and this is the last available IP address that we have here for this network. Okay, so thank you for watching, and this will be the end of this part. Now 2 parts are left. How do we subnet a given IP address based on the host number of host requirements, and how do we use a VLCM, variable length subnetting mask? We'll cover those in 4 videos that are going to be coming next. Thank you for watching. See you guys later.